Dear content creator, have you ever seen your favorite influencer post about a PR event or brand launch and thought to yourself, how do I get invited to stuff like that? Because I've been there. Fast forward to a few years later, and I've been invited to my fair share of PR events from brands like DoorDash Canada, Law & Order Toronto, Global TV, Tim Hortons, and the list goes on. So today, we're diving into everything you need to know about PR events, how they work, how creators get invited, and how you can make the best of those opportunities when your name finally lands on that list. So, let's dive in. What up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Dear Content Creator. I am your host, Karis Maggie. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode, y'all. I hope that you've been having a great fall so far. If you live in Toronto like myself, you know that it got cold pretty quickly. Like, we got our first snowfall earlier than we anticipated, but it is a part of the game. Already getting used to the times, going a bit slower. Also, the place getting darker a bit earlier. So we are trying to basically tap in and get ready for winter at this point because there's no escaping it. So I hope everyone's been doing well. You're taking your vitamins, you're getting your vitamin D, all of the good things then, because we know that seasonal depression that's coming is no joke. But yes, y'all, as I mentioned in the episode, we are going to be talking about everything you need to know about PR events. I feel like before I talk about brand deals and how to land them, PR events is that perfect introductory topic to explore because it is one of the ways that a lot of people have actually landed brand deals, including myself. And so I wanted to talk about it a bit more because it is a big topic right now. A lot of people are interested in getting invited, learning a bit more about how they work and what the real purpose of them actually are. So we're going to start with the basics of what are PR events. So PR stands for public relations, and it's basically a way that brands get buzz around a specific promotion that they're doing. Maybe it's an activation. It is something with purpose in mind, so it is time sensitive, and the point of it is to get as much influential people in the same room so that they can spread the word to their followers and get those people tapped into that brand, especially if it's a brand that they love and enjoy. So usually it's hosted by PR companies who are hired by a brand, and they work with influencers, media, depending on what type of event it is, and community voices that can really help them get the word out there. So this could be like restaurant launches, media preview events, brand activations, and these tend to be very popular when it's for seasonal events. So the holiday season will have a lot of these things, and summer as well. I notice those are the two times of the year where I feel like brands are a bit more active with their brands PR events. But maybe I'm not just tapped into like the winter time of what that looks like, but for my personal experience, I feel like brands are more active in having these events during the fall and in the summer. So I remember my very first PR event. I can't remember what it actually was for, but I do remember that I was invited by my friend as a plus one. And that was when I really got my introduction to PR events, how they really work, and understanding the purpose behind them. So that brings me into the very first point of this video, which is how do creators even get invited to these events? So if I'm being honest with you, PR invites don't happen overnight. They are based on timeliness, relevance, and also consistency of the content creator. And there is no one set way of how people get invited to events. I've had situations where, as I mentioned before, I was invited as a plus one, and that's what helped me to get on the radar of the brand. In other cases, it could be that the brand is using specific tools that they're searching for hashtags. My profile comes up, and then they go on my page and say, oh, I like this girl's vibe. Let me invite her. And in some other cases, you don't really know because the brand's PR team won't really tell you. I make it a habit for me to actually ask, like, hey, how did you come about my profile? What motivated you to invite me? I won't always get an answer, but for the most part, for the ones who actually do answer me, they do tell me that they use specific key terms. My profile will come up, and then they go on my page and see how relevant I am to their brand. Also, the energy that I bring, they love my personality, and they naturally will love having fun, energetic people at their events, especially when the point is to bring excitement, good vibes, all of those things. So I personally leverage my personality. That's naturally how I am. I'm a very outgoing person. I do have my moments where I'm a bit more chill, but for the most part, I would say my personality is very much charismatic. Hence my name, Charismaggie. Y'all getting it? And what a lot of people don't take into account is that PR is really based on relationships as well. So if you have someone who's really tapped into the industry, they are getting invited to a lot of events and they extend an invitation to you. This can be your way of getting your foot in the door so that you can be on this brand's radar for future opportunities, or the PR company, because they normally represent a range of clients that maybe are fit within your niche. So here's what I would say worked for me that allowed me to be re-invited to events once I got my foot in the door. So I remember the first time I got invited by an event hosted by Global TV, and they were launching their new series, The Paper. By the way, go ahead and check that out. It is such a fun series, and it is a spin-off to The Office. It's different in its own way, so give it a chance. Don't be going into it thinking it's going to be exactly like The Office. It is a fun series as well. And so they invited me to this event. And as I mentioned, it's to get buzz around there and all of those things. But as most of you who have been following my journey, you know that my main niche is food and lifestyle. And so when I did ask, what motivated them to invite me, they said that at first it was keywords that they used. My profile came up. But then when they went on my page, they saw that I did a wrap up at the end of the month recommending my favorite shows or series for that month. And so this was something that I had just started maybe 2 months in. It's not like I was getting a lot of traction on those posts compared to my other posts. And so it was just motivation for me to realize, hey, you know what? Every piece of content isn't going to go viral. Every piece of content isn't going to perform the same, but they all serve a specific purpose. And that made me hone into that even more. So I would say like being active in my niche, but also learning to explore other things that I like and showcasing that on my page when I can has actually helped me for opportunities, because I'm not just getting invited to events that's related to food, but as someone who loves movies, love TV shows, I'm getting now invited to events that are centered around the TV and film industry, which is super cool to me. And I couldn't dream of that happening a couple years ago. The next thing is that when you tag and engage in an authentic way, brands will also notice. So even though this brand is not one that I initially had tagged in anything before, because I wasn't really watching anything on their platform initially, but they did see some alignment with their brand, I attended the event and I made sure to share the experience on my stories, and I would tag them in my stories. So another mistake that people make is that they'll go to events, they don't really capture enough intentional content for them to share with their audience. And so there's nothing for the brand to really see, like, okay, well, what's the reason for me even inviting you again? This is an investment for them, even though it's an event that we're coming to for free. It's an investment for them. They're kind of trying to see who are the people who are actually on the same page with them, who are engaging, who seem to have a natural love for the brand, and things like that. One way that this works prior to actually being invited to events is if you're someone who uses a brand and you actually love it, whenever you're sharing it with your followers, if you tag them on your stories as well, that's also a way to get the brand's attention in that way. Or if you're commenting on their stories and also on their feed posts, that's one way of showing love and getting their attention in some way. Now, I've shared some of the things that worked for me and how I've been able to get invited to events, but what if this is not the case for you? What I would recommend is that you start researching PR companies that are in your area and pitch to them. look at their roster. I love going on Instagram accounts for these companies because they usually have story highlights that showcases their clients. You can see their past posts, and that gives you an idea of the brands that they work with, so that when you are pitching to them to be added to their roster, you can pitch with intention. And the reason I'm bringing up the fact that you should try to pitch to PR companies is because gone are the days when big brands now do all of their marketing and also their influencer marketing, their PR related stuff on their own. They usually outsource that to a PR company. And so the best way for you to be added to rosters for opportunities like this would be going directly to the PR company. So this is not something that I would say I've had much luck with. Also, I haven't really done a lot of pitching for this. Maybe I pitched to 3 companies before, one of which actually recently invited me to an event, but I don't know if it was due to my message that I sent or if it was through something else. Pitching myself to PR companies is actually something that I'm working on doing a bit more, so that I can probably be on the radar for a little bit more opportunities. I think I've only pitched to maybe 3 PR companies in Toronto, and I actually have a list of the IG names for at least 15 of them, so they are out there. So this is something that's on my to-do list for me to zone in on for sure. But what I would say is that some of the things that I've done in the past when it comes on to pitching is I might send a DM to the PR company on Instagram. Usually you will get a reply, and they would give you more information about how you can be added to their roster. What I would say is, before you actually send a DM to ask this information, just go to their link in bio. Sometimes they will have it linked in their bio. Or if you go to their website, there might be a section on their website where you can fill out their form to be added to their roster. Even if you fill out their application form, I would still send a follow-up just to introduce yourself, let them know that you have applied and that you're looking forward to like future opportunities. You want to keep it very short introduction, giving a little bit about what you do in terms of your niche, where you're located, and don't make it super long because these folks are just scanning. This applies for DMs, and this also applies for if you're sending emails. Now, when it comes on to sending emails, the best way that you can find the relevant people to message, y'all, do not sleep on LinkedIn, okay? LinkedIn is a gold mine for finding people who actually work on the PR team because it is in their job description. So if you go and look for the company, then you scroll down to the area where it says people, that is how you can find the persons who work at the company and shoot your shot. That's the best thing I can recommend. I'm not going to say that you will be guaranteed an answer, but definitely that is one way for you to go about putting yourself out there. And also a way to get on their radar is commenting on their brand posts that they make on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not really a place that brand pages do get a lot of interaction. And so by doing that, you can also be able to basically bring some more eyeballs to yourself, because there's curiosity like, who's this person who's commenting on our stuff, you know? And if your LinkedIn bio has enough information about what you do, this might apply differently for everyone, because not everyone probably makes their LinkedIn community know that they are a content creator / influencer. So that really, really depends, y'all. But this is something that I would say you can try out. It's something I am currently testing. So in the future, I will report back about how that is going. And overall, it's just important to stay consistent. Brands naturally want to work with people who are actively posting, actively engaging with their community. And so if there's too much of a time like where you're inactive, you might not be able to get some of these opportunities. But again, consistency doesn't mean posting every day. It could just be 3 times a week. It could be 2 times a week. But if you're not consistently posting or engaging with your audience for months of a time, or maybe even a year, this can be due to various reasons, but just be aware that these are things that the brands look at. What is your latest activities as well, just to see if you would be a good fit for what they have going on. For this episode's things I'm loving right now, y'all, I really have to tell y'all about this new series that I recently watched that I find is very fitting for this topic that we're talking about. If you haven't watched it yet, it is on Netflix. It's called Bad Influencer. And I can't get enough of South African films and series. Like, they are so good. They never disappoint. And the whole premise around this is a girl who really wants to be this popular influencer. By any means possible, she'll do it. And it just shows you how the world of influencing can be a bit toxic sometimes, how you have to put on a facade, and what can happen when you just truly be authentically yourself and not go with the fakeness, right? So I would highly encourage you, if you're looking for something to watch, and if you're in this world and you kind of want to see a little bit behind the scenes of what it's like in a more dramatic way, check out Bad Influencer. It's really good. You won't regret it. So how do you make the best of these events? Now, they are way more than just cute little photo ops for you to go and get cute pictures to post on your Instagram. Actually, these events are networking opportunities in disguise. Most people don't realize that, but this is your moment to really shine, show who you are. Whenever you go to the event, you want to make sure you're looking for the person who invited you or one of the persons on the team so you can introduce yourself. Thank them for inviting you. Also, ask any follow-up questions. Maybe there are certain details in the invite that you want additional information so you're aware of what you can intentionally share with your community. This is something that I do as well. I'll ask a bit more questions of, okay, what are the things that maybe they have, like they want the community to know a bit more, and how I can portray that either in my highlight reel that I'll do sometimes. So sometimes I'll post a reel post giving a highlight of the event but sharing that intentional time sensitive information, or sometimes I'll post on my stories and just make sure that each story is telling like a story, has purpose. It's not just cute little videos and pictures with trending sounds or music over it and that's it. Like, no, you have to be intentional. So a lot of people make the mistake of going to these events and just networking with like their friends. You kind of stay in your bubble. It can be intimidating at first, trust me. When you go to an event, maybe you are by yourself, you're probably on your own. Not all events will allow you to bring a plus one where you can be a bit more in your comfort zone, but don't be afraid to mingle with everybody, including creators and those who are part of the PR team. So talk a bit more to people, get to know them, find people who you vibe with. These are some of the ways that you're able to meet other creator people who can eventually be creator friends that you can collab with. But I use this as an opportunity for me to really go and network with the brand, their representatives, and other people as well who just fit my vibe. People are gonna always ask you what you do, so be ready for like a quick elevator pitch, and it doesn't have to be something like super like rehearse. Just be super natural, sharing like what it is that you do. Try and keep it super concise. And then one of the easiest way to get people to follow you very quickly is you can have a QR code that is like the screensaver on your phone, which allows people to easily scan the social media platform that they will follow you on. Most people are always asking about Instagram, so I always try to just have the Instagram QR code ready to go. And that's basically how I go from there. But yeah, when you're at these events, people are going to usually ask you what it is that you do, what is your Instagram, all of that. So you want to have that ready. And sometimes, depending on the event, I might have a business card with me because some people like to have a tangible thing to, touch, and that makes them remember you a little bit more. So I'll always bring some business cards with me if I have them and if I remember to bring them as well. And lastly, don't forget to follow up. Whoever it is that invited you to the event, whether it's a friend who invited you as a plus one, reach out to tell them thanks. If you're able to get the contact for the person who was the one who did the invitation as well, you can send a follow-up, thank you to them as well for having you. Share more about yourself, your information with your handle, different things like that. What I'll do sometimes is, because I don't like giving out email addresses of the contact person without their permission, what I'll do is I'll follow up, give thanks to them. If I was able to get a plus one with me, I will also send the follow-up information of my plus one so that they are able to tap in more into their page, see if they fit their vibe, if there are future opportunities that they would love them for, and ultimately they can be added to the roster as well if they think they are a fit. So kind of learning to use your opportunities to help other people. Someone once did it for me, so as I had my very first event that I was invited to, whenever I am getting invited to events, I always try to ask about plus one so I can bring other people. And it's not going to always be influencers that I invite. Sometimes I like to invite people who I know will genuinely enjoy the event because it is specific to them and their interests. And sometimes it's a way for me to like thank my friends for their support. Maybe it's a follower that I know really, really likes this brand or this person, whatever the event is about. So depending on what the event is, I'm also really intentional with who I might bring as a plus one so that everyone can get opportunity, because we can all eat. I was once at a place where I wasn't getting invited to events, so I want to like pass on that love and opportunity to people as well, because it does get annoying to see the same people always being invited to events. It gets a bit discouraging. So that is one way of helping to introduce more people into that world and bring some fresh faces to brands and on their page as well. We love to see fresh faces over here. And that is pretty much what I do. All of this is not going to guarantee you a partnership right away. These are the ways that you are building that relationship. Remember, this is all about relationship building. So you're being friendly to everyone who you meet. Naturally, my personality is to be friendly to people, so that's not something I have to put on an act for. But if you're someone who's a bit more on the what they call it, rest in bitch face side, you might have to be considerate of those things when you're in situations like that certain things can come off a different way to people. So just being a little bit more self-aware of yourself in that way so that you don't give off the wrong idea about yourself and your personality. And yeah, if the opportunity does come up, then that is when I am ready with my media kit if they ask for it, and my rate cards, because that is something that they will ask for. Usually if a brand is reaching out to you or a PR company is reaching out to you on behalf of a brand, they might not ask you for your media kit because they've already vetted you. They know they want to work with you. At this point, they might just be asking you for your rate card. So I would recommend checking out my episode where I talk about putting together and building your media kit, because we also kind of talked about a little bit about rate cards. But in the next episode where we discuss brand deals more particularly, we'll talk a little bit more about rate cards and what that looks like, because that is when the real negotiation starts. Now, y'all, to wrap up this episode, I want to leave you with a few things to think about. PR events can be glamorous looking, but behind the scenes, they are really about strategy, building relationships, and showing up to represent your brand at all times. So whether it's your first invite or your 15th invite, every event is a door. So ask yourself this question: are you ready to walk through it? I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I think this was a bit more on the sweet and spicy side. If there's anything that you feel I left out, feel free to share your experience in the comments. If you have any additional questions as well, please let me know. Please subscribe to the newsletter. I'll be sending out some more info related to this episode that is related to a list of PR company for those of you specifically in Toronto, as well as some templates that you can look into so you can introduce yourself to be added on rosters. Thank you all for tuning in, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.